What's up, engineers? Welcome to day one of our electronics unit in engineering. I'm really excited to get into these kits. So let's go ahead and dive in without further adu. So if you open your kit up, the first thing that you need to do is you need to look at the back of this card and you need to follow these directions. So the first thing you need to do is go to studentkit.arduino.cc. You need to insert the following activation code, and then you need to use your Google, your Cristo Ray account to actually set up this account through Arduino. So that is the first thing that you need to do. Do not move on until you have that Arduino kit account set up. Okay, so then let's go ahead and dive into the rest of this kit. So what do we have in here? Well, first thing we have is this container. It has our battery, it has LEDs, it has sensors, it has motors. This is all of the inputs and outputs that we're going to be using in our projects. All right, we've got the actual Arduino itself. So this is the microcontroller that you learned about, that people were making all those really cool projects with. So you can go ahead and open this microcontroller up. There we go. No worries about this box, because you're going to end up throwing the box away. All right, so there is our Arduino microcontroller. Okay. Now, they give you a couple stickers, so if you want to put those on something, they're all yours. If not, you can throw this box away. This is trash. Don't need that. The other thing that you can do, you'll see that there is a clear piece on the bottom of your Arduino here. So this clear piece is just for protection in the storage. We're actually going to mount this Arduino to a prototyping board. So you can actually take this off, and then this plastic part you do not need. So you need this Arduino by itself with no plastic part. This clear plastic can get thrown away with the rest of this stuff. Okay, so we've got the actual microcontroller. We've got all of our sensors and our battery. Let's see what else we got in here. So in this bag, you can see that we have all of our cables. So do not lose any of these mini bags. These mini bags are extremely important for organization. So really the only thing that we're going to get out of this right now is this board looking thing that has like honeycomb holes in it. This is what's called a breadboard or a prototyping board. And this allows for really easy connection. It allows you to create circuits relatively easily without doing any soldering. You'll see that if you want to actually create electronics that you're able to put inside things, you would have to use some soldering to put wires together. But for prototyping, so if we're just coming up with your ideas, this breadboard does the trick. It makes all those connections and you don't have to do any soldering. So these are the two things that we're going to need, the Arduino and the breadboard. In addition to, if you go in your kit, so you'll have your USB cord. That USB cord will plug into your computer, and whenever we have to upload code to the Arduino, this is the cord that we'll use. So just put that aside with your other cords. We won't need those today. This is a multimeter, so this helps you read electronic voltages. We're not actually going to be using this at all, so do not lose this, but you can kind of set it aside if you have a place. These multimeters are actually kind of really expensive. They're like calculators. So again, please do not lose this. These red and white cords go with the multimeter. So you can set this aside. We're not going to use it at all in this year, but I do need them for next year. And like I said, they're really expensive, so please do not lose this. Just set it aside. Same thing, the operations manual, just kind of set that aside. You can even put that in the bag with the multimeter and with the cords. All right. So then the last thing that you should have in your kit is this little plastic board. And this is actually what we're going to end up mounting both the Arduino board and the breadboard to. So before we can do this, we actually need to punch out all of these little plastic things, especially down here too. And then we can go ahead and get it created. So I'm going to do this. It'll take me a little bit of time, so you can pause the video while you do it yourself, And then once we have these all punched out, then we'll move on to the next part. Alright, so now you can see that I have all these punched out, which is great. And you can leave this, doesn't matter because we're going to be putting things on top of this, so any of these leftover things are going to get covered. So we need this by itself, but then we actually do need to clear out these extra parts because these are going to be the legs for our support. Get rid of these. Alright, so you should have 1, 2, 3, and should have 4 legs, okay? And these 4 legs are what we're going to use to actually mount this board. So put some legs on. Okay? So take each of your legs. You can see in the corners, there are holes. All we do is we just put the legs, holes like that. And 4. Now when you're doing this, make sure that the hollowed out part is on the inside, so it looks nice and clean on the outside. And then you've got a little foundation where we're going to put the Arduino on, and we're going to put the breadboard on. Okay, so this is going to be our, what we call a prototyping board that we're going to be working with. Okay. Now, first, let's go ahead and attach the Arduino. So if you see in the Arduino, there are these little holes, and those are going to be the holes that we use to actually screw this Arduino into the base, because there's also the holes in the base. So you'll take your Arduino and you'll put it right on there, and then we can open up our smaller box, and in this smaller box we can take out the battery. First, you can open up the battery because we're going to be using this today. Throw away this packaging. This is your servo motor, so this is a motor that we're going to be using in later projects, but we don't need this for now. What we're looking for is the individual screws and the nuts that go with them. So you can see that there are 3 of these screws, they're pretty tiny, and then there are 3 nuts in there that go along with them. Alright, so there we go. Like I said, you have 3 bolts and 3 nuts, and those are going to be what you use to bolt this Arduino to the board. So I'll go ahead and do that next. Alright, so now you can see that our Arduino is attached. It's held on there. It's got the legs, and it's sitting nice, almost ready to prototype. The last thing that we need to do is we just need to put on our breadboard, and the way that you're going to do this, if you look on the bottom, this is actually a sticker, so you can pull this off and reveal an adhesive surface. Now make sure you get the entire sticker off. Sometimes the stickers don't want to come off all the way, so make sure you get that off. And then this is just going to stick right next to the Arduino. Stick that on there, and this is your prototyping board that we're going to be using for the next few weeks. Alright, so with these extra pieces that were cut out, these are actually going to be used in the motor unit. You can see that we have a little wheel here, so we'll be able to create a project with a wheel. So don't lose these. Make sure you put these away in here. What you are going to need for today's lesson is the battery, like I said. You're going to need the battery clip. So this is what allows you to take the power from the battery to your prototyping board. You're going to need two different LEDs. You're going to need a red one, and you're going to need a green one. And then you're going to need a button, so one of these small buttons that clicks. And the final thing that you'll need is a wire. So if you want to open up your wire bag, you'll need one of these wires, maybe two of these wires. So actually just get out your medium-sized wire bag. We won't need it in a large one today. If you get out that medium-sized wire bag, then you will be all set and ready to go. So again, when you are finished with your prototyping board, you need a green LED, a red LED, you need your prototyping board, battery clip, battery, button, and the medium bag of wires. Excited to get started on this first project.